Привет всем, welcome to today's review. We are looking at the newly released Miniart kit of an Austin Armoured car 1918 pattern. Okay, let's crack on straight with the review. Very attractive box art. Why am I looking at a Miniart kit? Well, I think it's about time we did something like this. I sing a lot of praises for Miniart because of mainly subjects like this, which I think are interesting, definitely interesting. Interior kit, we've got an interior kit to deal with. Yeah, let's see what we get. Okay. Quite a lot of depictions of the markings that you can get. I don't know too much about these armoured cars, to be honest. I just know that I like the look of them. Let's open up this box eventually and see what's inside. This is what you always get with Miniart. They haven't changed themselves. Instructions, and sadly, still we've got like one big bag of all the sprues contained within it. Sometimes a weakness. Now, the last like major Miniart kit that I bought and assembled was the bulldozer, and within that pack there were loose pieces of plastic rattling around that had snapped off the sprues. Now, I have heard that Miniart have changed their plastic, and basically, as long as nothing's broken, I'm not going to be upset. So let's have a look at all these sprues and what's inside here. Okay, so within, clear parts and decals within one bag, keeping the clear parts sort of safe. This is our photo etch fret in a little nice little envelope. Sprues, before we have a look in detail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These two are trapped together. 8, 9. 10. 11. 12, 13, 14. Okay, so some of these sprues are quite small. I think it's because they have about 6 or 7 different no, they've got about 4 variants out at the moment. Also, these look absolutely lovely, and I'll show you in great detail. These are the Tyres and Wheels with the logo of the manufacturer on them. These look stunning. So those are separate, bit of flash on them, nothing to worry about. Let's have a look at the, let's go through the instructions first and have a look at the assembly steps. Okay, there is some critique of Miniart instructions being quite crowded. I think they're improving quite a lot. Yeah, they are busy because they just have so many parts. Very much unlike ICM, Miniart go for the detail. The first thing you're greeted with are these colour profiles of some of the markings, and they depict vehicles in the First World War in British service, including vehicles that took part in the Second Battle of the Somme. Markings look really interesting. I'm assuming that they're very well researched, as they seem to be with Miniart. This looks, let's call that a challenging colour profile. Looks absolutely stunning though, doesn't it? Okay, so we've got the parts tree layout to guide us through the parts trees, telling us what should be inside the box. And instruction is sort of typical, I would sort of say, for a vehicle. Yeah, there isn't a pre-formed ladder chassis. You need to build it up of components. So as usual, the alignments must be pretty perfect. Already in the first step, we called out some drilling that you need to do in this cross member here. You get a fully detailed engine. Other points that I've noticed as well in the instructions are, we've got this call out here for experienced modelers, and this is where you have the option to add in the wiring to the spark plugs from the distributor cap. So that's sort of called out there for you. Throughout these instructions you have got paint call outs as well. The numbers refer to the paint call outs. Probably label them all up. I'm going to that a bit later on. So by step 9 we've got a fully assembled engine going to get dropped in between the chassis rails. PE parts, some of them very small, some of them very tricky, and probably some of them quite unnecessary, to be honest. Yeah, we don't worry too much. Don't be too put off about the little PE parts. If you're an intermediate modeler looking at this model kit for the first time, that might dissuade you. However, remember you can build that, and that small detail missing from there, is it going to really take away the kit? Probably not. At least you've got a chance to practice it as well. But I like to see the higher level of detail. It's very welcome to me to see a lot of effort and research going into a kit. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, to build, but not impossible. Definitely not impossible. In fact, my aim actually is to guide you through building one of these, in particular if you're a little bit reticent about undertaking something like this. Now, okay, so further call outs, and actually you've got an option here for, I gather these might be brake lines or fuel lines, but you've got the option here of using the plastic part or wire, yeah, because basically these parts can snap, and they often do. So in some cases it's easier to use wire, and there's actually a PE detail that goes on the wire. If you can see that or not, that's a different matter, isn't it? You're building up parts of the drivetrain here, like the differential out of multiple components. Again, all your alignments need to be pretty much spot on. So you need to constantly check as you're building it. Let's flick through. You're starting to get some of the body being built on the chassis. What's going to be interesting about this build is we've got an interior kit, and the challenge is to paint the interior and assemble it in a manner in which you feel that the parts have gone together sufficiently. And the common problem, of course, is when you've got paint on parts, you've got tight tolerances, will it all fit together? Regardless, anyways, all the details getting built up, interior parts getting start added on, like the base here on top of there. You've got a choice here for open and closed variant of showing off the engine. Of course you want to show off the engine if you've got that interior detail. And by 31 we're building up the armoured encasement, the upper body of multiple components, and once again alignment must be pretty much spot on as you build this. But like I said, my intention is to guide you through everything. It's not impossible. More and more details. You can see again, because everything's made up of multifaceted parts, there isn't just one construction. For the top, you've got all these different layers. You're going to have to get everything lined up, but also you have the ability to show off the interior, i.e. showing up the visor for the driver being open, etc. You can have the doors open, so there's lots of things you can show off that interior detail. And I think that's why this kit appeals to me, to be honest, because with many of the interior detail kits, like the tanks, once you put the turret on top, you can't see any of it. It's quite interesting construction step here, 54. It shows the entire upper body getting mounted to the chassis as one. Now, that could simplify painting, or it become very difficult. It all depends on the tolerances and what this fits to on here. And from my experience of Miniart kits, is there won't be a artificial purchase or like a tab or anything. It's actually going to slot on as the body would on a real vehicle, and that can in some cases cause a few issues. More and more call outs here. We're starting to come over the exterior details. A lot of PE parts getting added on. They've gone to such lengths here. I mean, you've even got the straps for the Pioneer tools and the attachment for that pick. There's just nothing seems to be missing. And I don't know anything about the subject. Now we're coming for these, the British version of this armoured car is not fitted with Vickers machine guns, rather disappointingly. It's fitted with Hotchkiss machine guns. And there's a whole build-up of these cupolas, I think you would call them, and their mounts. And there's some quite intricate PE parts that hold plastic parts. So I think those are lights there, aren't they? Oh, yeah, those are a light that gets fixed onto the top cupola. So basically, by stage, I've missed a few steps. I've missed a page, haven't I? No, I haven't. By 78, we've finished the construction. The armoured cupolas with the machine guns or barbettes or whatever you call them get dropped in, and that completes the model. The colour chart as well on Miniart's pretty good as well, because well, we've actually got a picture of the colour. That's kind of good. Not many people do that, to be honest. Okay, you've got the colour name. We've got Tamiya callouts. Tamiya's available everywhere. We've got Ammo MiG callouts. We've got Mission models. We've got the AK Real Colour callouts. We've got Mr. Colour callouts and Vallejo. I mean, there's basically what's missing. Maybe Humbrol colours, maybe a few more. But with that amount of colours, and also there isn't any gaps as well. So you basically everybody's got Tamiya. So with all those colours, you should be able to build this. You should be able to paint this up. There's a few more paint schemes that are worth looking at. I think the difficulty on this one is choosing which scheme to undertake. They are absolutely lovely. I'm probably leaning towards one of these multi-toned ones with the blue on it. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. And there's a few more variants there. There's one with like a wavy pattern. That'd be challenging, wouldn't it? Looks really, really good. Anything in the back? Yeah, here's one. I think this is one of the first ones they released. Was this third series? The background behind this kit as well is that I really wanted the Russian service one. Not only because I live in Russia, but it had vehicles that were from the Russian Civil War, from Russian Revolution, different subjects. But for me as well, I haven't done much First World War, so equally as interesting as this. Let's go and have a look at the sprues in detail now. I'll just go through these generally and just basically, I can already tell they have changed the plastic. I can just tell that it's got a bit more flex to it. Before it was quite brittle, and from one of my examples, I can't say every single kit, but the bulldozer I had, anything intricate would be basically, snapped. I found that before. Now, you will have, it's going to be a challenge, and I'll show you how to do it as well. Like, for instance, here, we've got this, I think this is one of the brake lines or fuel lines. And you can see how many attachment points it has for that single detail. So the trick is to get this off without snapping it, but it can be done. I'll show you how it's done. It's not impossible. Also as well, for somebody who's intermediate level, I would definitely not call this a beginner kit by any means. You've got the challenge of dealing with, very small parts, removing them from the sprue. I mean, some of them are really small as well, as you can see. Now, we can deal with all that. It's not impossible. But, so you have got, let's say how the best way to put this is, you've got the disadvantage of dealing with very, very small parts. However, you have got the advantage of this. Look at the depiction of the fenders, how thin they are, thin and in scale. And that's what I want. I want a vehicle that looks fine, not chunky, not unrefined, not sacrificing the details. I like to see all these details. Fortunately, there's no knockout marks at all underneath those fenders. There's a few on these boxes and bits, but I'm assuming they're internal components. Difficult to tell at the moment, but I think we're going to be okay. I think it's well thought out. Here's this is interesting to note, part of the upper armour cab. Look at the detail. The rivets are all really nicely depicted. The hinges are depicted, and turn it over. Here is the interior face without any knockout marks. Yes, it can be done. proves a point, doesn't it? Let's get a few more sprues to look at. I'm not going to get everything out. I think it's worth looking at some details, like the Hotchkiss machine guns, for sure. Look pretty excellent, and you've got some ammunition with them as well. Same sprue there. Again, another fender with this really nice tight moulding, and turn it over, no knockout marks. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Looking forward to building this. Repeat sprue. I think the Armoured barbettes or couplers or whatever, again, even though you wouldn't see the inner face of that, they've replicated the detail in the inner face. So here are the spoke wheels. They look absolutely excellent. So construction is, we've got the wheels as one part with all the tread pattern as well, that Crossley, I think they're called Crossley tyres. So they somehow fit on like that. I didn't check the instructions, but you've got all the detail of the spoked wheels and the rubber with part of the wheel on there. They look really good, really good. It's going to be a highlight. Small detail sprue. Note again the fine level of detail that's depicted. You've got headlights and you've got the bulb inside, not only on the big lights but also on these smaller ones. Here are some of the larger components that make up the body on this sprue. Again, we've got this armour here. There's no, well, all the rivets are depicted. Here is the floorboards of the vehicle, and I'm guessing they would be wood. There's no depiction of wood grain, but that's not putting me off. There's a couple of ways we can do that. We can paint it, or we can decal it, or we can even scribe it in. Let's have a look on the other face. Again, the interior face is absent of knockout marks. There's absolutely, well, I don't think there's this part here. No, nothing. Everything's detailed, and there's no knockout marks on any of the components at all. Never mind the ones that you see or don't see. Part of the cupolas or the barbette mountings for the machine guns. Again, with so much detail. Last sprue to look at, well, except for the clear parts, looks like the chassis. Here are the rails for the chassis. They've got the section, they've got the C section moulded, so they're quite readily, you know, they're quite solid to start off with. But as I mentioned, we need to get that lined up perfectly, or everything else goes wrong. That's just the way it is with these vehicles. All sorts of little details I'm seeing here, like that's the horn, isn't it, there? And that's even rounded out. The cylinder heads as well, detail on there, outstanding. It's going to be it'll be an excellent project, I think. It really should sort of, especially for somebody who wants something a little bit different, somebody who wants to test themselves a little bit, which is, you know, I think there's this feeling, you know, this dumbed down feeling that I keep on getting from some commenters about Tamiya, saying that, oh yeah, you know, some people want dumb stuff. I think most people want a challenge. I'm sure that they do. After a few years in the hobby, you want something to test your metal. And I don't say this is, you know, this is not the most difficult kit, or it shouldn't be, but I think it will be very, very enjoyable. Yeah, okay, there's the brass sprue. Yeah, quite a few, you know, very small, like microscopic components there. Do we need them? Probably not. You know, we can probably get away with not using them. But the majority of these look workable, and it's a very fine piece of brass. Be easy to bend. Won't get this open, but there we are. There's the clear parts, the clear transparencies for visors, lights, and the decal sheet as well. The markings look really good, really crisp. I can't remember what, I think that, who are they printed by? I think it's printed by themselves in the Ukraine, but I think the decals are quite good, but I can't honestly remember. So that's yeah, that's everything. That's the entire review. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell me your thoughts. Anybody out there tempted to have a go at a Miniart kit? We'll definitely be building this one. I try and build everything I review, and this definitely, I've been wanting this one for a while. So guys, take care and see you in the next one.